Welcome to Maggie's Picks, where I recommend things that you can watch, read, or listen to for free. So today, in honor of May being Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I'm recommending 5 Asian American stories you can read or watch for free on the Libby app, Canopy app, or Channel 101 website. So you can access Canopy and Libby from the following URLs. I'm going to put it in front of your screen. Or you can download them for free from the App Store or the Google Play Store. So this week we're going to start with the most serious story and end with the least serious story, so reverse from the following video. So my 5 recommendations are Vincent Who, The Best We Could Do, Patron Saints of Nothing, Miss Marvel 2014, Volume 1, and Baby Mentalist. So if you remember, if you've seen my past videos, you know I've recommended Chew, which is a graphic novel, and American Born Chinese, which is another graphic novel. I didn't include them in this list because I already talked about them, so I will try to include links to those book talks below, and you can just find it on the Austin Public Library channel. So, on with the list. So the first one is Vincent Who. This is a 40-minute crime documentary that came out in 2009. It was directed by Tony Lamb and written by Curtis Chin, who isn't related to the subject of the documentary, Vincent Chen. So I probably learned about Vincent Chen when I was in high school, probably around the same time this documentary came out. As you can tell by the title, Vincent Who, most people don't know who Vincent Chen is. I definitely didn't learn about him in school. My parents didn't tell me about him. I don't even think they knew who he was. And I know this is like one of 2 documentaries that I watched in my Asian American history class when I was in college. And yeah, I'm pretty affected by it because originally I tried to film this video a couple days ago, and that actually, the day that I was initially trying to film this video, it was gonna be his 65th birthday if he was still alive. So yeah, let's get into what this documentary is all about. So, in 1982, Vincent Chen was murdered in Detroit by 2 white auto workers at the height of anti-Japanese sentiments. His killers, however, got off with a $3,000 fine and no jail time. Outraged by this injustice, Asian Americans around the country united for the first time to form a pan-Asian identity and civil rights movement. This documentary, based off of a series of town halls organized by Asian Pacific Americans for Progress, features interviews with the key players at the time, as well as a whole new generation of activists whose lives have been impacted by the case. The documentary asks how far Asian Americans have come since then and how far they have yet to go. So this film isn't rated, so there wasn't an official age recommendation. However, I'd probably recommend it for ages 13 or 14 and older. I know, like when I was in 8th grade, I read about Emmett Till for class, and then I think either in 7th or 8th grade for social studies class, we were studying the Holocaust, and one of the books we read was Night by Elie Wiesel. So I think this is appropriate for that age range. Yeah, and not gonna lie, like reading and writing about Vincent the other day, it really affected me because he was a little bit older than I am now when he died, and he was kind of he was born around within a couple of years of my father, who actually moved to, the United States maybe 3 years after Vincent was killed, so it really affected me. And he was also Cantonese, Chinese, like me, so yeah, it was definitely, I remember learning about it and watching the documentary in class affected me, but like, it just hits even harder nowadays. So we're gonna move on to the next book, which is also a pretty serious one. It's called The Best We Could Do by T. Bui. I'm gonna hold up the book since I have it with me. So this is what it looks like. It's a really thick, long graphic novel. So my father was actually born in Vietnam, and I have Vietnamese friends, so I saw a lot of myself and my friends' stories in this book. So this graphic novel is an adult book for young adults. It's an autobiographical comic or memoir. It's focused a lot on family and relationships, and this is a debut graphic novel. It takes an intimate look at one family's journey from their war-torn home in Vietnam to their new lives in America, exploring the anguish of immigration and the lasting effects that displacement has on a child and her family, Boy documents the story of her family's daring escape after the fall of South Vietnam in the 1970s and the difficulties they faced building new lives for themselves. So the tone of this graphic novel is very moving and reflective. It has a very spare writing style. I would say most of there's more focus on, I think, the illustrations. It has kind of an inventive and kind of muted style as well. I'd also recommend this for readers 13 and up. So the next book is Patron, Saints of Nothing. It's pretty new. It came out last year. The author is Randy Rebai, and it's about a 17-year-old boy named Jay Riguero. He learns that his Filipino cousin and former best friend June was murdered as part of President Duterte's war on drugs, so he flies back to the Philippines to learn more. So this is a great book for reluctant readers. So kind of what that means is, even if you know someone who doesn't love reading, this is super easy for them to start reading and get hooked on and really enjoy it. It's a coming of age story. It's told in the first person, and it is under the realistic fiction genre. I started reading it back in January, and I instantly loved it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so good. I just didn't have time to finish it. So the other day I finished about a third of the audiobook, and I love this book. It is so good. It is very, very, very relatable. Even I think if you're not a multiracial Filipino kid who grew up in Michigan or something, doesn't matter. Super relatable. While I was listening to it, it reminded me a lot of Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. It has a lot of that vibe to it. So if you liked that book, I would definitely recommend this book to you. This is for ages 14 and up, and the storyline is very character driven. So I love this book. I think the cover is kind of unique. I feel like there's not a lot of YA that's kind of geared towards boys and high school aged boys. And I think this cover is very trying to strongly suggest hey, this is a book for a guy. And even if you're not a guy, it's just a great show of representation. Here's someone who's a person of color, and looking defiant and strong, and it's just great. So we're gonna move on to the next book, Miss Marvel Volume 1, No Normal. So this came out in 2014. The author is G. Will Wilson, and the illustrator is Adrian Alfana. So Kamala Khan, a Pakistani-American girl from Jersey City who lives a conservative Muslim lifestyle with her family, suddenly acquires superhuman powers, and despite the pressures of school and home, tries to use her abilities to help her community. So this is another book that's really great for reluctant readers. It is more of a traditional superhero comic. It's not quite a reboot or a retcon, because I think Carol Danvers, the original Miss Marvel, she does exist in this universe, and she does kind of, I think, pass on her powers to Kamala. But it's certainly an origin story, and the writer is Muslim, so it's considered an own voices story. So this I would recommend for readers ages 12 and up. This is just, again, if you're looking for something a little bit more lighter, a little bit more fun, Miss Marvel's a good pick. So the next item on the list is Baby Mentalist. So this is a web series that came out in 2013. There's no official rating, but I would probably put it at PG-13. There are 6 episodes. Each episode, except for the finale, is 5 minutes long. The finale is 10 minutes long. So all in all, you could probably finish this series in about 35 minutes. So this is a police procedural comedy created by Tim Wilkemy and Randall Park. You might know Randall Park from Fresh Off the Boat TV series, or Always Be My Maybe, which is a really excellent Netflix movie. I really wanted to put it on this list, but I am committed to keeping this list accessible and making sure you can find these things for free with your just logging into a website with your library card. But if you do have Netflix, I highly recommend Always Be My Maybe. The Office, he was Asian Jim Halpert, and I think his breakout role was in 2014. He played Kim Jong-un in The Interview. So this web series, it stars Randall Park, Jasa Park, who is his wife, and Ruby Park, who is their child. And the whole conceit of this is that it's kind of a parody, or it pokes fun at police procedurals, except like, and you know how like there's always like that one person on the team who's like, they're amazing, they're kind of the Sherlock, they can like look at a criminal and like make them confess and things like that. So in this case, it's actually a baby who does all those things, and she's really adorable. The summary for the first episode is criminals don't stand a chance against the toughest cop around, baby mentalist. So yeah, you can find this on Channel 101's website. I'm gonna put the link in the description below, and I'll put it in front of me on the screen. And yeah, so those are my 5 for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. If you have any recommendations, any comments, any feelings about the above works, let me know. You can email me at maggieleung@wlsmail.org. That's MAGGIELEUNG@wlsmail.org. Or you can leave me a voicemail at 914-502-9446, extension 404. Thanks again for watching.